Do we need to pause? No, we're good.
No, let's continue.
The show must go on.
The show must go on.
We got this.
What I was saying is I know myself. I know how... I taste it.
Roll the intro.
Hello? No, I know. No, don't worry about it. Season 4 starts right now. Let's go! Welcome back, everybody, to Under the Influence. This is episode 6 of season 4. If you watched last week, you saw we had a wonderful guest, Mr. Tim Nye, our editor. He does the editing for the video, and it was a great episode. We hope you enjoyed it. If you're here again, either we don't know why you're still torturing yourselves, or
we don't know why you're still torturing yourselves.
We're so glad you're here. We're glad you're enjoying it. We've got a great episode lined up for you, in my opinion. Some awesome stuff that we want to talk about. But before we get to that, if you are new here, check out, we've got a backlog of episodes. We've got a lot of video stuff here on YouTube. And then if you go to Spotify, you can find our first 2 seasons that are audio only. Those were a lot of fun. They're very different, given that they're audio only, it's the same kind of thing. A lot of conversation.
No, but we can do like skits and things that doesn't really translate as well to video.
Yeah.
And then you can see the evolution of this show. You can see season 1, just 3 of us, Levi, Jude, and I. And then you can see season 2, Byron joining, right? It was season 2. No.
Season 3.
It was season 3, excuse me. Byron just was a first episode and ending episode of season 2 guest. And then we had season 3, Byron joined officially, and here we are now, right? We've just had this slow progression into a superior content. So if you enjoy what you're seeing and you would like to listen to it, go check that out. If you like what if you're enjoying this as well, go check out our Discord, discord.gg/Christian Influence. You can get involved in what the ministry is doing there. We've got game servers and places for you to hang out. Also, we have another podcast called Of Lore and Legend that you can find through that. It's an actual play D&D podcast. Dungeons and Dragons. So lots of stuff you can get involved in. If you're liking what you're viewing here, more stuff to view other places and get involved with. And then if you don't mind, if you really like this, please like it on YouTube, subscribe, comment. It really helps us out. It helps more people find the show. And ultimately our goal with this is to impact people and encourage them to experience and express the glory of God in their lives, right? By Christian fellowship and unity in the brotherhood that is the body of Christ. So we encourage that. We hope more people can experience that. So please, if you'd like to help out, that's a great way that you can help out. And then if you want extra content, I didn't mention this last week. If you want extra content, go to Patreon. We post extra content there. There's a whole catalog of bonus content there already, and we're going to continue to be posting more bonus content as well. So go check that out as well. All right. Boys.
Oh, no.
To men.
Uh-oh.
Opening hypothetical.
Yep.
Again, 3 weeks in a row. You asked, we listened, we brought the hypotheticals back.
Isn't this the 4th week?
Maybe it is. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Yeah,
it's
it
hard
definitely
to count
is.
sometimes.
It
Definitely the 4th one?
It's definitely the 4th one.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Pardon me.
Your excuse.
We did this in first 2 seasons, and we kind of ex-nated it in the 3rd season, and it's back. So this week, opening hypothetical. This one I didn't come up with. I didn't find. This one is a brainchild of Byron Thiessen himself.
It's my brainchild. I didn't even know I had.
Well, you asked, remember when we were fishing and you were like, hey, here's a cool question I came up with. And it went into the hypothetical list.
Oh,
so
I don't remember this question. I'll figure it out in a second.
All the time, you can either see 10 minutes in the future or 10 years in the future. Which one are you choosing and why?
It's minutes or years?
Minutes.
10 minutes or 10 years? There's a right answer. In my opinion. I've already thought about this. So
Can it be changed?
No.
No.
All the time, you can either see 10 minutes in the future. You're not constantly seeing 10 minutes. You can choose to see 10 minutes in the future at any moment, or you can at any moment choose to see exactly, I'm assuming it's precisely 10 minutes or 10 years.
I think it's like as the second ticks forward.
Moment.
Yeah. That was when I stated the hypothetical back when we were fishing.
Right.
And you cannot change the future. That is set in stone.
That's not the question.
That's not the
We're
question.
not talking time travel.
I mean, no,
shenanigans.
that would...
It is, when I had theoretically said this to you, I put it as you can see 10 minutes in the future, you can do something to affect it. affect it, not infect
Right.
it, affect it. So it's not set in stone, but at the current pace you're going, you would be 10 minutes in the future. This would be what it is. In 10 years in the future, this is what it would be, or what it is.
Is it 10 minutes from my own point of view? Like
Yes.
through my eyes in 10 minutes?
Through your eyes in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I would know. But like it is or is not set in stone.
We don't
Decide
for yourself and then answer the question.
Yeah,
I mean,
you decide.
Well, maybe we should set a standard.
Yeah, I
because
think
that directly helps me decide what my answer is.
Yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't change my answer. It makes it more meaningful, but it doesn't change my answer. So, what do you think? Is it set in stone or not?
Oh, I just had this weird thought. I'm gonna let Levi.
Oh, go for it.
So what happens if you do theoretical? You do the 10 years, and you die in 4 years. How
Do you see the gates of heaven?
What do you see? Can you see heaven?
I mean,
I think you probably see you're dead, like where you are, so dead.
But we're said through your eyes.
But we're saying through your eyes.
You guys,
so
I missed that. Sorry.
yeah, through, like what I see now, what Byron sees.
Okay.
Is
you
what
would
I
see
would see.
the upside of a coffin. If it's through your
But
it's
my
not.
eyes are closed.
Well, but they're open in heaven.
So then I'm.
You have a new
in
body,
heaven?
right?
Then I'm in heaven.
Well, do you have a new body?
That would be pretty
through
sweet.
your eyes.
Through your
is
eyes.
It through this physical body's eyes, or is it
physical?
through our
Now we're getting real. down
Let's
the rabbit
say-
hole.
spiritual lens?
Let's assume for the question, we're not going to worry about that. It's a fun thought experiment, but
It's
for the
yeah.
sake of the question,
Yeah.
you're alive when you look. Now, who knows what would happen if you're dead? But you wouldn't know unless you choose that one. I have an answer, and I don't think it matters whether or not time is fixed or not, because it makes it more meaningful or whatever. But like, if you can change it, then I'd rather this either way, but I'd rather the 10 minutes, because 10 years, every time I look, it's so much, it's such a vast difference in my current state of being that I would spend the next 10 years worried about how to make sure I either do or do not reach that point, and how to influence my life. And it's less useful, but more interesting. 10 minutes, way more useful, way less interesting, because I could be sitting here, look 10 minutes in the future, guess what I'm probably going to see? Us sitting here. But so it's less interesting, but more useful, because then I can be like, how is this thing I'm about to do going to go? Like
I'm taking this
10
exam.
minutes. Yeah. 10 minutes in the future. See, now if I can see that and then change that, it's even more useful.
Yeah.
And even like more useful to not be intimidating, right? Because the 10 years thing, I'm afraid of, like, what if I look forward and I see like I'm at the funeral of my brother? Oh my goodness, I'm going to try for the next 10 years. It's going to freak me out
To
so
stop his
much
death.
to try. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether I can or can't. The 10 minutes one, even if I can't, it's still like less. Even if I can't change things, and I know I can't, the 10 years thing, I would still be racked with it the whole time. 10 minutes, way less to be racked
So
with.
the other thing is,
So the
also,
mental tax and the usefulness, 10 minutes, that's why I'm going with that one.
I think that because if we're going through seeing through your own eyes, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're sticking with. And you're not seeing your thoughts at the time. You're just seeing through the physical.
Physical, I would say through the physical, or like the physical eyeball, what the
Like
neurons are receiving. That's
just
what you
POV.
see.
It's vision and sound.
Yeah,
right?
vision and sound. Yeah. We'll give sound.
You're seeing 10 minutes of, I'm assuming it's like,
Yeah.
that's so Raven.
So the thing with that is, if you're going 10 years, there's so much context that you would be missing.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't understand,
Yeah.
like, you may not understand that you're in like an entirely different location if
Universe,
things
maybe.
did get set back like in order. You can't see if you're like disfigured.
Yeah.
You can't see like what your economical state is, what like
You can't see all the factors that make you and make your
Also,
decisions that you're doing.
I mean, maybe you could, though. How long are we allowing ourselves to see?
Oh
using
no!
this?
I mean, yes, you could, but then you would have to be waiting until you like ran into a mirror, until like you looked through your bank account.
Yes.
Like trying to like.
It also
if
helps
you're
if we
trying
set
to plan
rules.
ahead.
Like how many times per day you're allowed to do it. Like,
I was thinking all the time. Like,
but I think, it says all the time. At all the time, you can just go see it.
yeah.
And so that means you could just stay that way if you wanted. So maybe you look 10 years in the future and you see yourself looking 10 years in the future.
No, but
because
if
you
you're seeing
stayed
through
in
your
it.
own eyes, then.
What would happen? I look 10 years in the
time loop
future.
yourself.
But I decide right now, I'm never going to stop doing this. So then I start doing it. I don't ever stop. So I see myself, seeing myself 10 years in the future, seeing myself 10 years in the future, seeing myself. Like, it's just like, I think you die.
Yeah.
So it's a brain aneurysm.
So in 10 years, you have a brain aneurysm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, right away.
Ooh.
Right away. You'd go,
Ooh. Interesting. But then if you had a brain aneurysm right away, then you technically would
No, you
die
wouldn't.
at the moment, and then you wouldn't be
see,
able to
this
see
is
in the
getting into
future.
interstellar
So we're getting,
type of
we're
like,
getting,
Yikes.
we're
did
getting-
it? Yeah. So it doesn't matter. So, Byron, so you're saying because of those reasons you're going 10 minutes?
I would probably go 10 minutes. And also, like, if you're
the safer
constantly
bet.
looking into the future, and if you can change the future, then, like, it gets into a bunch of, like, crazy things where you, like, not ethically or morally, but, like, are you living for now and, like, for Christ and stuff? Or are you, like, just trying to avoid certain outcomes?
10-year out outcomes, right? Like, that's kind of why I was saying that. It's like, I know myself. I know how much I will worry about something. It's like when you know,
Who done it?
dude, it had to be, did you, it's the dog. Dude, that dog.
He's pointing at himself, dude. Wow.
Dude, that is a dog fart. Like,
Dude, that is the right one. Holy shoot. I smelt it. I was like,
very-
I was going to be like, who's going to talk about it first?
Dude.
And then it hit you, and I was like, okay, it's got to come from that way.
it hit me a couple seconds before that, but I was like, maybe
Yeah.
that's my breath because we ate chili.
Yeah, I was
But
thinking
then I
that
was
shit. I'm like,
It's only getting worse.
Dude, it's getting worse.
It's getting so much worse.
Oh my goodness.
And
And
he's
look at
just-
him just sleeping
He's
over
just
there.
sleeping
Doesn't even
there.
care.
Just
Doesn't
chilling.
even care
Oh,
that we're
are you
dying.
sure he didn't poop?
Dude, it kind of smells like he pooped.
He did it a few minutes ago. I'm suffering. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
It's lingering in there so bad. I think it made the room warmer.
Wow.
It just made it to us.
just made it to you.
Oh, poor Shibbles.
Yeah.
Do we need to pause?
No, we're good.
No, let's
No, the
continue.
show must go
The
on.
show must go on.
We got this.
Oh, what I was saying is I know myself. I know how I taste it. I know how much I like when I know something's gonna happen, like you freak out about it more, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
the 10 minutes thing. I'm still gonna kind of do that a
You're
little bit.
You're catastrophizing on it.
What?
Catastrophizing?
Oh, like making it a catastrophe?
Y-
Is
yeah.
that a word?
Catastrophe. Yeah.
Catastrophizing is a verb?
Yeah. You can
That's
verbify
crazy.
it.
Verbify it.
You can verbify.
Is
catastrophe.
verbify a verb?
That is a noun.
That no, it's not. I
don't
I mean,
know.
is it a real
I don't know if verbifying is actually a thing. That's why we have an editor to check, or a producer to check these things
is
out.
verbify a word and is catastrophize a word?
Catastrophize is definitely a word.
That's a cool word.
I will stake money on that. Oh,
we're getting Google.
Here we
Here we
go.
go.
Dr. Google.
No, but like
anyway.
so there's like the whole
Is verbify a word? Verbify, transitive verb to make into a verb, use as a verb. Yeah.
Oh,
dang verb.
I'm
I
so
mean,
fu-
it sounds like one. I just mean to say it also sounds like one that we could easily make up. Like there's a.
Yeah.
I was wondering if there was a different form of it that was the word,
Yeah.
like verbiate or something.
I don't think.
to verbiate.
To verbiate.
To verbiate.
So
What
far-
about catastrophize?
So far, I'm one
Yeah,
for
do
one.
catastrophize.
Verbiage. Verbiage is a word.
Yeah.
Catastrophize.
Oh, it's an actual thing.
Catastrophize.
To imagine the worst
Catastrophizing.
possible outcome of an action or event.
You
Well
saw
done.
it here first, guys. 2 for 2.
2 for 2. Let's go for 3 for 3. Just make up another word.
Yeah. Go.
No, I'm okay.
Go ahead. What were you saying, Levi?
No, but like it kind of like gets to the point where you're no longer actually like living, you're just trying to avoid like the future.
Yeah.
And like it'll be a lot less pronounced with 10 minutes. It still will probably happen depending on how much you use
Right.
it as a crutch. And once you like that's the other thing. So like I know like for me, if I'm like listening to music, if I just let music play, I can listen to music and I'll be fine. But if I skip a song, then that sets a precedent to constantly skip songs
Yeah.
until I find one, oh, that's one that I'll listen to.
Yeah.
So if you like, once you open that box of looking into the future for this little thing,
You won't be able to stop.
then you're just going to be addicted to looking into the future to try and to avoid those outcomes or try to foresee.
So from a biblical perspective, the right answer is pick neither, right?
Yeah.
Because we're supposed to live for Christ. This is something that could, well, maybe not pick neither, but like this is something that could easily become a crutch and cause us to not take Scripture at what it says, to not worry about tomorrow, right? Now,
Yeah.
if God blessed someone with this power, the ideal situation is for them to work through that struggle and glorify Him with it. So I think we assume, for the sake of argument, this is we're going to get one or two of these.
Yeah, no. That's but
so we're recognizing it's easier to it would be easier to glorify God with the 10 minutes one. Well, it would be easier to
I don't know.
Yeah, it would be easier to, but maybe you could glorify Him all the more fully with the 10-year one.
Maybe.
Yeah, because you could foresee something like you could foresee something like Joseph used the dreams of Pharaoh
Right.
to see
Yeah.
that there would be 7 years of plenty and then 7 years of absolute
Yeah.
famine.
Yeah.
So they were able to stock up all the grain piles and then be able to use that to feed everyone, and that saved
That's because you were able in that
Israelites.
universe to change.
in our universe.
In our
I know.
universe?
I'm saying so that must be how it would be. So final answers.
So
I just think that there's just not enough. You don't get enough information with the 10 years to be able to use it.
But do you agree with my assessment that 10 years more interesting, less useful?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can 100% agree with that. The thought of doing 10 years would be amazing because, okay, cool. I get to see, do I get married? Do I get married in the next 10 years? Do I have kids in the next 10 years? Do I have a degree in the next 10 years? What's going on? But also knowing and thinking of like, oh no, I'm at the funeral for my brother.
Yeah.
And oh no.
Or even if it's one of those good things, like I want to make sure that happens.
I want to make sure that happens. Like, I'm gonna have my own company.
I still was having the funeral for my brother thing, and you're just like,
I gotta make sure that happens.
I just gotta make sure that happens.
Yeah, no, not that. And so like there's that point of view, and I like the 10 minutes also because 10 minutes away from finishing the exam, I can go, okay, I get a good grade. I'm good now. And I mean, keep going.
Yeah,
You could cheat, basically.
yeah, you can cheat.
You could.
You
cheat.
can hover over. I'm going to choose this. Look into the future, and then come back.
Or
and
just
be
see like, yeah, if it's an exam where you know you would have access to the answers in 10 minutes, you just look at that.
if you can change.
Yeah,
the future.
that seems really unethical though. So
How's that unethical? You're just choosing what you would choose.
it's true, but
You didn't change anything.
ethics board.
So
Let me know.
it also like there's a whole thing with yeah, I don't know.
No, you're good. It's just funny how much we are putting way more thought into this, I think, than I expected.
This is a lot of stock in this.
Yeah.
one
No, it's a
question.
good conversation,
So there's
though.
a big thing in the books of Dune where he foresees the future, right? And all he's trying to do is stop this bad thing from happening
Right.
in his name, right? And as he does that, he becomes a slave to just trying to get more and more melange, to get more and more of a vision of the future, to be able to know all of the steps to stop it. And then he just becomes a slave to that, to the pressures.
and it
that
becomes
he
like a
has.
self-fulfilling thing, I'm assuming.
Well,
Yeah,
it becomes
kinda.
a self-fulfilling thing, but it also just ruins him as like
An
he no
individual.
longer is like himself. He's a slave to all the driving forces
Yeah.
in the universe,
and that's a
just
common
trying to
theme in
fulfill-
literature, right? And just
Yeah.
in life too, is like the cursed with knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Like this idea that like something's going to happen, and that becomes the thing that defines how you act throughout your life. Great Christian application. We know we are not cursed with knowledge. We are blessed with knowledge. We know who comes out on top, and so that should therefore have the opposite effect on us, right? It should affect how we live our lives every day. We live a victorious life. But like there's this other element, right? We know that it's very easy to do the opposite and be cursed with knowledge. But you brought up Dune. I brought up this last week. But I was going to bring it up this week too. Perry and I, half the way through Dune. For them, 2 weeks apart. Like, man, they really haven't watched any
Wow,
more of
they
it.
did not watch
They don't
anything.
watch anything.
Wow,
very
that's
quickly.
crazy.
No, I just
Was my explanation way too much when you asked?
no, I just forgot to reply.
Oh, okay.
I
But did
read
make,
it. at like 6 a.m. the next morning or something, and then I went.
I
to
just
work.
didn't know if it made sense at all.
No, it made sense. Essentially, my question to him was like, we started watching Dune, and I remember because I hear a lot of it from him, a lot about it from him because he likes it and he reads it and stuff, and I've been around him while he has, so he'll talk about it. And I've always been like, I don't really care so much about that story. Like, you can spoil it. And he's talked about how, essentially when you're on Arrakis, you can never leave because you'll die because of the spice in the air. And then I was watching it like, do they not know that then? Like, do the people not know that at the beginning of the story?
No, yeah. So they do. They realize it. When it
Because,
goes,
they just
it goes
walk around
into
with
it
no
much
helmets
more
on.
in the books. There's conversations between Leto, Jessica, and Paul at different times from different points of view of the characters that they're like, yeah, when Leto signed this to go to Arrakis, he knew
Is Leto
is Paul's
Atreides?
father.
Okay.
He's the father.
He knew that signing this meant not only like politically, like there was a whole mess of worms, but that once you move there,
You never leave.
because of the wealth, you're basically stuck there. Not only because you then control the most wealthy substance in the universe, but also because the cost of leaving there is really, really expensive because then you are addicted to the spice.
Because you have to like buy it so that you
You
can
have to
consume
constantly buy in it. And if you just live on the planet, it's
So-
much less expensive.
Because it's in
Theory.
the air and everything.
it. Yeah. Theory then, Harkonnens not so bad. They just don't want to die.
Okay, so that's my one of my big issues with the movies. It doesn't go into how bad the Harkonnens actually are.
Oh, they make them look pretty bad. So I mean that's fine.
Because they are.
You're saying that because you know how evil they are. Let me say from a person who's not read the books though. I don't then like. You might be right. Like maybe they don't go into it as much as you'd want. But from someone who hasn't read the books, it doesn't make them look like they're not bad. I was joking when I said that. It doesn't make them look not bad. I was just saying like at the end of the day, they kind of have to get back, right? Like if it had gone the other way, the Atreides family or the ones that were there, they are gone. They would do everything. They might not be evil, so they might not do the things that Harkonnens did, but they might do everything within their power to get back, whether it's politically or whatever, because not only are they losing all this wealth, but now it's a death sentence for them, right?
Yeah.
So the Harkonnens just have to also be evil.
How far in the like? I don't want to spoil things.
I'm halfway through the movie.
Okay.
But I don't
know where that's at,
What
but I will-
actual part that is.
Maybe we should talk about it again.
Yeah, when
we've
you've
watched it all,
actually
but go
finished
ahead.
it. Yeah.
But I will be honest. I've read the first book. I've read Dune. I haven't read any of the secondary books or third book that Levi has. I actually won't watch the second one again. I've decided.
Really? You didn't like it?
No, it was good, but the brutality and the gore that they have in there isn't as extreme as the book, but that actually is so dark and so evil that I
was
don't
hard
ever
to
want
watch.
to see that again.
Oh, I didn't know. That's good to know to expect that. I didn't know it get that bad.
It was bad enough for me. It may not be bad enough that you don't want to. It's something I don't ever want to choose to watch again.
I'll report back. Good to
He'll
know
report.
before Perry and I watch it together, so to
Because it's
expect something.
And I know some stuff in the book that they did not show in the movie, and I'm glad that they didn't show it because I was like, I emotionally
that,
could
like-
not handle if there were certain scenes in the
Like,
book to the
how evil the Harkonnens are. I mean, I don't want to see that on the screen, but also it just doesn't show.
It doesn't have the same punch from a story perspective if you don't know how evil they really are, right?
Yeah. But I think, on my opinion, first movie, I don't mind watching the first movie again.
Yeah.
If they cut out, if I watch it on a censored thing where like they take out part of the middle that on the second movie that is just so dark and
Yeah.
evil, I would probably watch that.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, like, they don't do half of the stuff. They don't tell half of the story. They throw nibbles and pieces of things and like, ooh, look, there's so much here. But they actually don't explain why certain actions are being happened.
Yeah.
So, like, you've already passed this, the doctor.
Yeah.
Spoilers. He betrays the house
Yeah.
but
But
they
he's
never,
like,
but he only has 5 lines prior to his betrayal. Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't hit as hard.
It doesn't hit as hard. Whereas in the book, it's
I mean,
Yeah,
but
that's
also
true of most
chapters of
stories,
him
right?
talking and explaining what's going on
I mean,
in his head.
in
And, like,
in the book, it not only it tells you everything that's going to happen before it does because you get the point of view from everybody as they're planning it, but also it shows him wrestling and struggling as he's trying to like
Yeah.
perform the actions that he's taking and like
But at the end of the day, like movies can't.
Yeah,
They can't-
movies,
Other than the protagonist, you can't show a lot of point of view from other characters.
But there was conversations
Yeah.
he
And
has
it's-
with other people
Yeah.
that they could have thrown in.
Yeah.
To give the emotion that like, hey, I'm struggling with something right here. I can't tell you what it is.
But I wonder if,
But-
from the perspective of like screenplay writers, they're like, what matters more? Whose internal struggle is more important? Like, how much does it
Yeah.
matter for the end
So-
of the line? How much people relate to this guy when compared to like the people being betrayed?
that is the one thing that like with that makes Dune so hard to adapt is because throughout it, every paragraph, more or less, each one could start with a different person's perspective in
Right.
that room and having all of their internal monologue that's going on along with everything that they're saying. So you get to see the emotions of people that are just stone-faced because like Jessica does not reveal her emotions except for like specific times.
Yeah.
But like in the movie, she kind of cries.
she has to give emotions.
Okay, there's a lot
yeah,
about Dune.
anyway,
Sorry,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
a
sorry.
lot about Dune.
But anyway,
Time
10
travel.
minutes.
10 minutes.
There you go.
10 minutes is the answer.
I would go 10 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the safe bet. Like,
it's a safe bet.
I think it's hard for me not to value things by their usefulness sometimes too, and it's pretty useful.
Yeah, there's
10
not
years is
enough contextual information from just seeing and hearing 10 minutes into the future, 10 years into the future. Yeah.
All right,
Let's
move on.
Yeah.
I've got a new segment for you guys.
Oh.
For you guys and for you guys. They're not aware of this. We talked about in the past about...
Is the audience aware of this?
No. Right now, it's a new segment, like, because we've never done this before.
okay.
It's a new segment to them and a new segment to you guys. You remember when we talked about hypotheticals?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I have a game called Cult or Hypotheticult.
Oh.
Oh shit.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. I've got it
okay.
on my phone.
Oh no. Okay.
So I went a-trolling through the internet. There are a lot of cults that have existed.
how down the rabbit hole did we go?
Pretty far.
All right.
I was for about
I'm
an
excited.
hour researching because I was like, I don't want it to be like there's some of the easy ones everybody
Yeah.
knows about. Pastafarianism. Right?
Yeah,
Everybody knows about that. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Is it even real?
I don't know.
So the point of this game is you guys, I will read to you a cult. And it's the description of a cult, some information about it. And I want you to tell me if you believe it is a cult or a hypothetical that I made up. Or someone made up.
All right.
Right?
I like this.
Now, I've purposely, for the real cults, rewritten this information in my own words.
Okay.
And for the made-up cults, done the same thing. So to try and make it as fair as possible for whoever wrote it, if it's made up, whether that's me or someone else, and for the real thing, so that it's not like, oh, this reads clearly like a news segment, right?
Yeah.
So I have a description, and it's an interesting one. And to answer your question, yeah, I was like for well over an hour on my computer searching, trying to find like crazy cults, like real ones and some pretty mundane ones. And there's just, I kind of broadened my scope just to also like funny clubs like that. I mean, if it had some weird kind of religious element to it, does it really match the exact definition of cult all the time? No. So I have one that I brought to you today. And I don't know, I don't think we'll do this every week, but it'll be fun every now and then.
Yep.
So cult or hypothetical. You can play along at home as I'm reading it. Go ahead and comment below if you think it's a cult or a hypothetical. And I haven't decided yet if I'm actually going to give you guys the answer.
Oh no! Dang it. Okay.
Okay. So, Shibley out there also doesn't know. He knows about this game we're going to play. He read it. He does not know if it is a cult or a hypothetical. I think afterward, when you guys have given your votes, I kind of want to get a vote from him so he can thumbs up if he thinks it's a cult or thumbs down if he thinks it's a hypothetical too. That'll be fun to know and kind of get him involved. All right. The Tunnel Path Collective. A small following.
That's the name.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
A small following of people in the late 1980s from Chicago claimed to see truth and revelation in the abandoned sewer systems deep below the city. Finding true meaning and enlightenment through the expansive revelations that these tunnels demonstrated about the city and the people in it, leader Charles Carlin claimed that he and his followers saw the truth of salvation from death and oppression below the Earth's surface. And that following that path, as laid out by the sewers and inspired by an extraterrestrial being, they would find direction in ancient urban history, thus the key to salvation. According to a U.S. Census in 2010, upwards of 300 Chicago residents still claim to be members of the Tunnel Path Collective. But whether any truly live in Chicago's abandoned sewers is unknown. Likewise, in its 40 years of existence, the Tunnel Path Collective is allegedly responsible for the disappearance of 2 people.
Oh.
Cult or hypothetical?
Oh, gosh. Okay. So I'm going to say my thoughts out loud.
Yeah, talk about it.
I thought it was a cult up until the point where you said the U.S. Census of what year? I think it was
2010.
2010 said that there's still 300 active members.
I mean, people are
300
crazy.
claim
300 claimed
people claiming
members
to
of it.
still be member.
Because that is very weird for someone to write in that that's what they believe, because like you have to do a write-in for it. But I guess
I mean,
there are weird people. There
yeah.
are people that will do that.
How many people write in Mr. Potato Head for president?
That's true. Okay.
I mean, that's a little, yeah. So it kind
It is a
of
little different.
like I'm getting like, what is it? Chinatown?
Yeah.
Chinatown?
That movie from the 80s, Chris or Shibbles. You don't remember it? No.
Are you talking about Big Trouble in Little China?
Oh, you never saw it? Oh yeah, Big Trouble in
Little China.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that Kurt Russell, right?
I think so.
That's crazy you bring that up, because just the other day I was playing Know What I Meme or something. It's a Discord game with Capel and a couple others in there, and you basically like get a meme prompt and then you post. Oh, Shibble says great movie. Yeah. You post like a GIF to it and you vote on which one's like kind of apples to apples. Which one's the best one for that? And he posted one. My entire life I thought Big Trouble in Little China or whatever was like a straight up action movie, but then I saw the GIF of a guy's face exploding like ballooning up. So. Yeah, that was interesting. Not what I expected from that movie.
No, yeah,
but I haven't seen it.
It's like it's super actiony, and then it just goes like once they get to a certain point,
Wacko.
it's just like way off the deep end into like
Weird land.
magic and like
Have you seen
greater
it?
gods,
No.
like
Once, long time
human
ago.
sacrifices.
Oh my goodness!
And like all he's trying to do is get in there and rescue this girl, like. And so
Fair
he's
enough.
going up against like these god figures, and they have all these like spirit like bodyguards and stuff, and it's crazy.
Kurt Russell at his finest, huh?
Apparently. Okay, back to the prompt.
No, but that's what I'm getting vibes of, because like they go down through the sewers and then they find like
Is that
all
in
this crazy
Chicago?
stuff.
That movie? Or a little China. There's like a little China or a China.
I can't remember if it was
city.
Chicago or New York.
Probably New York.
I don't remember. It could have may well been either. What? Are you trying to like get an actual decision?
I'm making an actual decision.
Well, I hope you are as well.
Well,
Do you have
no,
a vote?
Levi's just off in Chicagoland.
San Francisco.
That's what I was actually
San
thinking.
Francisco. That
I
makes
mean,
more sense.
It makes a lot
same
more
difference.
sense. I am going to go that it is actually a cult.
Actually, a cult. Okay.
Man, so I wish we could elaborate more on like the alien part of that thing, but
That's true. Oh, there's an
because there's an
extraterrestrial.
extraterrestrial.
Yeah, as revealed by an
element.
extraterrestrial being. or
But that could
something.
be like an angel coming down. Theory.
Well,
Mormon, like Mormon.
I'm just because I 100% believe that there's a lot of cults and like religious things that think that it was like alien activity. I'm not trying to say that it was angelic or not. I'm just saying that doesn't make it not true or is true.
Yeah.
For like being an actual cult or isn't a cult.
Oh, I see. What you mean.
Oh,
Not-
is it?
not,
Is
like,
it like?
true or-
Okay, just want to clarify. Either the whole thing is made up or the whole thing is true. Not like, oh, this little part is made up, so then it is fake.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's either all or nothing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it's like a not.
That would be funny.
First statement is true. Second statement is false. So that's the whole statement
Two
must be
truths
false.
and a lie.
That would be
Cult
terrible.
edition.
No, it's all or nothing.
Okay, cool.
All or nothing.
Then I'm gonna go true.
It's a cult.
I'm going cult.
Cult.
I kind of feel like it's a real cult.
Cult.
So Levi's
The
going.
300 in 2010 though makes it feel
That's the
I
part
don't
that
know.
I'm
That's
confused
weird.
about.
That's crazy.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like there would still
'Cause
be people that
Because it started back in the 80s,
Right.
yeah.
and so that would be 30 years of this cult.
40 years. Oh no, sorry, 2010. Yeah. I was
Okay.
thinking now. I was thinking now.
My calculation says
I don't know
now
how-
they're at
yeah.
3,000.
I don't know how many people there are still now, but
Okay, so 30 years. There's still active members, 300 of them.
Yeah.
But their founder, I don't know anything about that guy. That's a made-up name.
What was the guy's name?
Google searching.
Leader Charles Carlin.
Charles
Carlin.
Carlin. That sounds like a real name.
It also sounds like a...
According to U.S. Census in 2010, upwards of 300 Chicago residents still claim to be members of the Tunnel Path Collective.
I don't know. I think I'm going true. I'm going true. Locking it in.
Okay, yeah, so I was going to ask next.
Locked in.
We're not going to get to hear any thoughts from the producer, but do you have a cult for thumbs up, hypothetical thumbs down?
Hypothetical.
We have a contrarian in here.
Okay.
Well, just kidding.
Okay.
So we've got a locked in hypothetical out there. We've got a locked in cult here.
It's crazy, dude.
You got to pick one.
Yeah, I know.
3.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Charles Darwin.
I was thinking that like it sounds too crazy for Jerry to have just been like, oh yeah, it kind of sounds like a cult leader name. So I'm not gonna use like I don't think that he would have like gone out of his way to choose a cult leader.
Nice of you to say.
Name like to try and throw us up.
You give me a lot of credit.
I think it might be true.
So
are you locking in cult?
Locking in cult.
Yeah, I'm locking in cult.
Locking in cult. Locked in cult. Producer out there, locked in hypothetical. Time for the answer. Oh, yeah, locking your answers right now.
Write them down below.
Pause
the video.
Make
Don't
sure.
Google it.
Yeah, cheaters.
Are you ready for the answer?
Are you going to tell us this answer?
Are you actually going to tell us the answer?
I'll tell you.
Or are you going to tell us?
Do you want me to tell you?
It's up to you. It's your segment.
Yeah, it's fun. I will tell you whether I fooled you or not.
No.
The Tunnel Path Collective is a hypothetical. I made it up. All of it.
Dang it.
Nice job. Nice job, Shibley.
Shibs is in the other room dancing.
Dude, thank you for the Charles Carlin. You were like, I was like, man, I thought 2 steps ahead. And it was like, he's going to think this, so I got to come up with something that he would think I wouldn't come up with. Charles Carlin.
He played me.
I didn't think of a Charles Darwin. I
didn't think of Charles Darwin.
Yeah.
I literally tried to, number one, try and think of a name that sounds like a cult leader. But then number 2, make sure it wasn't, which means it kind of has to be close to real cult leader names.
Yeah.
I.e. Charles Manson.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things, right?
Yeah.
And when noticing this, I noticed there's like a lot of like Charles or Chucks in cults.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a 70s thing, right? And 80s, like that's a popular name. I think that's something with correlation. But when doing that, I'm like, okay, so I want it to sound believable. So you kind of have to play this game where you get close, but then the danger is when you get close, people go, it's too close. So then
You have to take a step back.
And I came up with a name that I thought was innocuous enough, Carlin, which is like a name that you almost never hear. What?
Uh-oh. Gas.
Uh-oh. There's a gas.
No.
That's a bummer. So in about 4 minutes, we're going to get gassed out over here.
So we're going to put on our gas masks now.
I picked Carlin because I was like, yeah, that feels like it's such a
It sounds like a legit name.
real name from the 70s-ish, a name that like not used very often. So
you played me like a fiddle.
I took a popular name that's so close to it being made up and threw in a name that made it sound believable.
That's it. Can't be a part of the podcast anymore.
And then the 300 thing, I really struggled with if I should include that or not. I was like,
because that right there was like,
when you said that made you not know, I was like, oh, crud. Ooh. But I thought without that, there wouldn't be enough facts. It would sound like a story. And so I needed that. And also, I looked at some real cults, and some real cults, a lot of them include. So the part that you were saying made you wondered is not the part that that's the part that's definitely real. Like there are censuses that you go look like the Pastafarianism. We can't use that one now because I would just tell you that's a real cult. Don't look into it. It's really gross. But the essential poster child part of it is like they believe in a flying spaghetti monster. The whole purpose of it is not that they actually do. It is literally just satire by atheists to make fun of Christians.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're like, if you are going to believe this, I'm going to believe in this. And then it gets really gross. But the Pastafarianism one, every census, there are quite a few people. And so like their claims...
Yep, here it comes.
Claims of up to like 60,000 people on Pastafarianism.
It hasn't hit me.
Oh, it is.
But because this one was so specific and localized, I'm like... And honestly, I don't think it's unbelievable at all that if this was real, that there are people in Chicago that would say it because they think it's funny. Like the meme is to say, there's this urban legend of the Tunnel Path Collective. I'm going to say, because they're like, I'm not a believer or whatever. On the census, they say, yeah, I'm Tunnel Path Collective. So I picked a low enough number, but I was afraid it was still too high. But 40 years was the thing that made me think, like, there's a lot of meme lords now.
Yeah.
So, I feel good. That was fun.
Good job. Good
Man.
job.
So if one of you wants to take a crack at the cult or Hypotheticult, sometime leading it, like either find one that you
but
think
you
is good.
spent an hour looking into cults and stuff, so you're gonna know.
I don't remember. I mean, just don't go with like the obvious, or it can just be my segment then.
I think.
Maybe that's better.
It's a pretty good segment.
Yeah.
Well, that
Levi's
was fun.
got his news segment. I'm a cult leader, apparently.
No, you're not a cult leader. You just
I'm a cult
create them.
aficionado. So, it's pretty interesting, though, right?
That's pretty interesting.
I had fun with it.
Yeah.
The Tunnel Path Collective, dude. My idea was
that the name. The name's long, but
it's
good.
hard. It's hard. Like originally, I had it called Path of Revelation, and then I just put Pathians. But I was like, adding IAN to something sounds fake, right?
Yeah.
So Pathian, and I think that might be a real thing already. And so I went. Then I said the Tunnel Path Church. I was like, no, that's gonna sound made up. Collective is just in the gray area enough.
It's just gray enough that it makes it.
Yeah. So I had this idea of like, imagine this guy, right, who is.
We're getting backstory on a made up
Well,
hypothetical.
I want to explain what it is.
yeah, go for it.
I had this idea that was like, imagine this guy, Charles Carlin, right? He is a homeless man, but not due to drugs, not to anything. He's just really down on his luck, and he's a charismatic guy. He's got, as you said earlier, Riz, and he's like,
He's got Riz.
I have always. He's a con man, kind of always effective in that, but he's just constantly losing. He decides, you know what? It's not so bad living here, and everybody knows Chicago has those like abandoned sewers beneath it. He's like, it's not so bad. What if I can convince people to do this with me? It's like, when the Bible says we should be, God elevates us, doesn't elevate us, right? He builds us up. We should build others up and bring them up as well, rather than when we're down, bring them down. Mm-hmm. His idea is like, I'm going to bring them down, so I'm not alone in this.
But then
he's their leader.
He'll take their money.
Yes.
And he raises himself
And
up.
so he is visited. Now, this is him as a con man, or there's the version where he's a crazy man. So is he Joseph Smith, or is he just a crazy
Joseph
man?
Smith?
Yeah, we don't know. And this version of him, could be where he's like, he does believe he was inspired by an extraterrestrial. Angel was the thing I was thinking. It was the idea that, there's the angels are actually extraterrestrial beings. So I had fun with it. It was fun to make stuff up like that. It felt like I was doing D&D stuff.
Don't like being bamboozled though.
Sorry. You could have been right.
I know.
It's 50-50 shot.
It was a 50-50.
I really tried though.
That's actually, you put enough effort in there that was great.
Not for Chris though. I mean Chibbles. It was not good enough. He's too smart.
He's too good.
He's been around the block.
good.
He's been around the block. He knows.
It's hard to bamboozle him.
He knows. He's
He
been
actually lived in Chicago during the 80s.
You
He's
did.
been in a lot of cults.
That's crazy.
He actually lived in the subways, and he never ran into them.
All right. So
I'm sorry. The abandoned subways,
abandoned sewers.
sewers,
Yeah.
same difference.
Sewers, subways, same thing.
Did the 2-year disappear or 40 years, 2 people disappeared make it more or less believable? I added that last minute. Like I need another fact, and it sandwiched the fact I wasn't sure about.
It did sandwich the fact, but it still caught me off guard.
Really?
I thought it would've
census
been
data
more.
was the one that got me, but
I was afraid of doing the same mistake I thought I might have done with the 300 and made too many.
Too big and big.
Yeah, it's like if I said like 11 people, it's like 11 disappeared in the sewers.
That would be pretty awesome.
I would have done like 4.
I had 5 written, and then I was like, 5's too easy of a number.
5's too common of a number.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I couldn't use 6 because I think I used 6 a
Dude,
lot.
that's the problem with
Yeah.
humans and random numbers. Like
We pick-
put in too many 3s.
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh, what's a number that I haven't used yet? Like
3.
randomly.
3.
Like 3s get thrown in a ton.
Yeah. I'm giving you guys too much info on how my brain worked doing this though now. So next time it's going to be
It's
even
gonna be
easier
real hard
for
or
me to
real
come
easy.
up with a convincing
real,
one.
Yeah, real
no,
hard
but
for
now
you.
you're gonna be fighting us having that knowledge.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be just you're
Sometimes
setting
more
up
of
all
it.
this conversation
He's
to play
playing-
us like even more.
He's playing chess at the 4th dimension.
Yeah.
Well, we're stuck playing checkers.
No, you're playing shoots and ladders. Let's be real.
That's a 50-50
Just
game.
kidding. All right. So Coulter hypothetical, that was fun. Let us know if you enjoyed that. I thought that was fun to come up with something. And the hypothetical thing, we had this idea like we could just come up with Colts, but then I was like, how fun is it really for us to just, it's just, but it'd be fun to make a game out of it.
Okay.
All right. So we've got a little video reaction I want you guys to see. So this is a clip. This is a clip of our first episode.
The do not disturb.
I know. I screenshotted it. I didn't know that was up there, but it'll go away. This is a clip I took of us from the first episode. Let's watch it, and then I'll say something, and we'll get to a secondary part of this clip. Go for it.
That's what I tell people.
That's what you
Jude's 4'4", but I tell people he's 6'7".
We play it again real quick because it was black at the beginning for some reason.
That's what I tell people.
That's what you
Jude's 4'4", but I tell people he's 6'7".
Okay. So it's an innocuous little joke, right? Whatever. Yeah. And I just thought it was funny. And so I screenshotted that. That's why I have that. And I sent it to Jude. And he sent me this in return.
Oh, no. We can't see it.
Don't listen. Do you see it?
That was the very last frame.
He sent this in response.
Here we go.
He said nothing and just sent me this video.
I love that he fell into the...
Play it again. I think it's so funny. There you go. I didn't ask Jude if I could do that, but it's on the show now.
That's incredible.
But yeah, he commented on the video on like the YouTube thing. So he must watch it. So we have his blessing.
That's all it took.
The shoes on his knees. Yeah, dude.
Where he's got to shuffle them.
Yeah, that was funny. Jude is so funny. I just sent him that video and then no response, and then I look down and see a video from him, like, watch it, and he just, oh.
No, but that does remind me of a little thing. There's a cool thing that I saw that people, well, it's not really a cool thing. It's kind of like not really, but it's funny. Is really, really tall people, like 6'4", 6'5" people, will go like, oh yeah, I'm 6 foot. And then everybody that like lies about their height, like saying that they're like 5'10", but they say that they're 6 foot, and then they're up next to that guy, then they're like, oh shoot, I've been saying that I'm 6 foot. Is that really what 6 foot looks like?
That's funny.
It's not something that I could ever do, unfortunately.
It's probably because
it doesn't work the other way around.
Yeah. It's probably because if you're 6'4", it sounds like you're trying to be a jerk and flex if you say I'm 6'4". So it's better to just say 6 foot because like they're gonna believe you because everybody's like, yeah, that's enormously tall.
But these guys were going out of their way, like saying that they're like shorter.
Oh, they want to be seen as shorter.
No. They want to say that so that it makes all those insecure people about their height that are lying about their height look like losers and totally wreck their brain with, oh my gosh, have I been saying that I'm that tall? But I'm so much shorter than that. How tall am I actually?
Yeah,
because I haven't taken my height in a while.
So they're making fools of liars.
Yeah.
Nice.
By lying.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah.
We've got another video to react to. That one was just for fun. I threw that in at the last minute because I thought you guys would enjoy that, and it'd be fun for people to see it. This is a video. Now, we're going to react to a reaction video. A guy called, what is it, Daily Dose of Wisdom, right? Yeah. So Daily Dose of Wisdom, if you haven't checked him out on YouTube, pretty awesome YouTube creator. I've seen a few of his videos. He's primarily, correct me if I'm wrong, Shibbles, but he's primarily just a Christian reaction channel, right? And we're seeing a lot of those pop up right now, and I think it's really cool. There's another one called Fight for Truth. Jude and I have talked about that on the podcast before. I really like Fight for Truth. He always starts every video. If it's paused and you go to the first frame, it's always this. Or it's like this like sharp smile because he always goes, hey guys. But just fun little fact. Fight for Truth is another good one. But there's these channels popping up and they're getting more and more popular, right? And then you have like the more discussion focused, almost podcast style. What?
He has the same lamps as us.
Oh, he does.
That is the same lamp.
That's kind of funny. And it's tilted just like ours are.
I saw the lamp and I was like, oh, there's a lamp.
That's cool.
Sorry.
No, but this guy, like the other, you've got these other ones too that are much bigger, like Ruslan KD, right? Like these big guys doing, got big channels, and it's like a kind of a podcast format, almost like with multiple guys on it. But then you have these guys, and I think these are just great because it's just a guy watching something, talking about it. This guy's stuff is great. He lets usually a lot of the video or the whole video play. So long intro just to say, We're going to react to his reaction of this because the full length clip for this is like 20 minutes, and he's already done some of the work of bringing the parts from it that we want to view into about a 5-minute segment. So since we're using his reaction video, we wanted to give him some credit, and also like we want to elevate other content creators that are Christians out there doing great work. This guy does great stuff, so go check out Daily Dose of Wisdom. All right, let's do it.
Oh, I hear you. You're well-educated people. You've heard the arguments. Yes, brother, I understand that, but you see what happened was there were individuals who came and doctored the Bible up, and it's been translated so many times, and it's been changed so many times. And when I talk to college students sometimes, they tell me about this myth of these overzealous monks who went out and changed the Bible so that things would match up, so that it would look like we have older documents than we actually have.
We don't do it the way he does it. We pause it a lot. So there's something he plays at the beginning of this video, which is great because he kind of like front loads it with essentially what Voddie Baucham here is saying. You know, these college students that come and say this common argument, right, which is the Bible is corrupted. It's a doctored document or collection of documents. He had a clip from the Joe Rogan Experience where Joe Rogan is like even if these are the writings of Jesus, how do we know that they're the real writings or that they've not been changed or this or whatever? Which is already. Like it starts off with a false one. He says the writings of Jesus, like as if it's Jesus's
Writings.
right. Well, no, maybe he's saying it's like the collection of stories
the
about
writings
Jesus.
about Jesus.
Yeah, but not to pick apart his words, I guess. But yeah, so that's kind of the important thing. Like, I guess so we can try and make some more discussion out of this too. Have you guys encountered that a lot? Like, I would imagine. I would wonder if Byron has, being in like a school system more than us as an adult.
Not super a lot right now.
No?
No. I haven't had that argument in school. So
I mean, you go to technically a Christian university.
I
right?
go to a Quaker university.
Excuse me.
Yep, I have to be careful. They're the Quakers. They'll kill you.
With oats.
With oats. They walk at you with their hats, and then they take off their hat, and oats just come flying.
You don't know what they're fortifying those oats with.
Arsenic.
Arsenic and old oats.
Arsenic and old oats. I go to a Christian, Quaker, whatever, university. The students in the student body aren't all Christians.
Yeah.
They aren't required to, especially at a graduate level. We aren't even required to take a Christian class.
Yeah, and you're not required like to do statements of faith or anything like
Nothing
that.
like that. Professors are technically required to do a statement of faith.
Oh.
But that is a very loose term.
Yeah.
It's basically they have one line that says what they believe and why they believe it.
Yeah.
That's all
some
it is.
Christian universities, so like GCU, professors
GCU,
aren't even required to do it.
They're required to say that like Jesus was a good example, and that like the Christian like bullet points for how to live a life are good, but you don't have to believe.
It's like then asking like, hey, don't be derogatory towards Christian values almost, which is not a statement of faith.
Yeah, but are Christian values good?
Yeah.
Then you're good to go as a professor.
Which, in my opinion, like I don't think. Like, you can have someone say, like, yeah, I won't be derogatory, but still, if you're going to a Christian university, you should be going because you want to be built up in that. And the person that's just willing to say, I won't be derogatory towards it, isn't going to build you up in it, right? But, I mean, it doesn't mean you can't go to GCU.
The statement of faith can be the statement of faith that they have doesn't require you to even believe. It just kind of goes along the lines of that, where you're like,
do you know this for a fact, or I don't want us to...
I know that a friend or a individual that I worked with was applying for George Fox.
Okay.
They say that there is a statement of faith to be applied to get in. I know that they do not believe.
Interesting.
And yet they got to the final round. They almost got to the final
round. I hope George Fox knows that, because they do now.
They do now. But
no, they don't know who
I didn't say who I was talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's no NDAs there.
Yep. And so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But they're polite to Christians and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but they don't believe themselves. And that's kind of like, interesting. Why are we accepting this?
I mean, I'm glad to know, though, that they're around believers. Like, more likely for them probably to be around believers there than if they go to, like, University of Oregon. Well, certainly University of Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah. There are believers in my program. There are believers that
that's
truly
cool.
do believe. They have a little bit of a different viewpoints on different aspects.
We
But
all
for the
do.
most part, they're there.
I just wondered that because like I would wonder if this it's not more scholarly of a viewpoint in the sense that like it's smarter. That's for sure. And you'll see Voddie Baucham talk about that. I just mean more scholarly because it's kind of heady. It's kind of like you sound more intellectual to if the reason you don't believe in the gospel is because you say, well, it's a book that can't be verified, right? You could use words like it can't be verified, it's corrupted, right? These are documents that are doctored and all those sorts of things.
If it's truly from God, then why did man have to write it?
Yeah.
And then, but then we edit it in so many versions. So you have the King James, and you have the New King James, and then you have the NIV, and then you have the NET, and
but you're not translating from the original.
Which all of those things
different,
really,
so they're
when
like,
you actually think about it, a lot of it adds to its validity, which is funny that like, and Voddie Baucham will talk a little bit about this, so we should probably get back to it. But I only ask just because like certainly I have heard this viewpoint.
Yeah, I've heard it as well.
And like when you're online,
definitely.
Yeah, and I've heard it in real life conversations with people, and this was like before I had more answers to it, and it was just like, I mean, no, but
I mean, no.
I don't have all the facts for you right here, but
I think you'll like
you're wrong.
what Voddie says. He's a great preacher too. Like he's just so like boom, bang, boom, and so yeah, go for it.
And in fact, and I think they're really telling me something when they tell this, we don't have any of the originals.
He's so young.
What?
here.
Like I'm supposed to shake in my boots when they tell me that.
He is incredibly young.
He's really glowed
Listen
up.
to me.
He got
If
older.
overzealous
He's aged
monks
well.
want to change the Bible,
Got a good beard now.
can I explain to you what they would have had to do? 3 levels of conspiracy. Level number 1, they would have had to have a manuscript conspiracy. When we're talking about just the New Testament itself, there are over 6,000 manuscripts or portions of manuscripts for the New Testament itself. Now, that may not sound like a lot to you, but can I compare it to a couple of things? Julius Caesar's Gallic Wars. That's how we know about Julius Caesar and his conquest. We have around 10 manuscripts. Aristotle's Poetics. We have nearly 5 manuscripts. When it comes to the writings of Herodotus, we have less than 10 manuscripts. When it comes to the writings of Homer, less than 10 of each of his writings. When it comes to the New Testament, we have 6,000 manuscripts or portions of manuscripts for the New Testament. Folks, that's not even close. Well, you don't have the originals. No, we really don't. But guess what? We can get earlier than AD 120 with some of the copies that we have. When it comes to Julius Caesar's Gallic Wars, the earliest thing we can put our hands on was written 900 years after the original.
I don't see the.
Hi, this is Mark Barr.
There's an ad.
Get rid of
That's
that.
scary.
So I don't
Get them off the screen.
see it. Like,
Yeah,
you know, we're talking about like something that's easily provable with 900 years after it's written or whatever. But like, we should trust that more, I think.
Yeah, no, that's why I was saying like this is the kind of almost you could say intellectual argument because it's about these well the manuscripts, they're copies, and what if they're like they've been watered down and all this stuff. But then the same people, right, in these same intellectual places are going to reference these other things, like you said, as being accurate. And it's like, well, dude, it's good logic to go, if we believe this because of this, then if it is applied here even more so, we should believe this even more so, right? I mean, often. Yeah. And so, yeah, I just think it's interesting. And I really enjoyed, I watched a little bit of this video already, and some of these things I didn't even know. I mean, I knew a lot of them, but like the 900 years after the original thing.
Yeah, I didn't know that
Julius.
about
I did not know it was
Julius.
that long. That's wild. Why would we give that any credit at all? But there must be reasons.
That's 3 years. That's 3 times longer than the U.S. has been around. As our
Have we almost
country.
been around? Yeah,
We've almost been around for 300 years.
Ooh, guys, in our lifetime, we'll live for the third centennial.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
dude,
will.
that's crazy.
We will
That's
live
cool.
to the 3rd centennial.
I mean,
Yeah, if we make
hopefully.
it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, cross our
You mean the
fingers.
nation or us as alive?
Both.
Yeah.
Let's look 10 years in the future.
3 times?
Yeah.
No.
But if I look
No,
through
5 times. Well, we will be kind of close, like, because it's going to be what, 2076,
Yeah.
and so that's 52 years from right now. So we'll all be 77, and you'll be 79, 80.
I'm trusting your math.
I don't know. You're 28.
I'm 28.
And
So, yeah,
Shibbles
so you'll be
will-
80.
I mean,
Shib-
this is a
Shibbles-
drop in the
Shibbles
bucket
will
for
keep-
how long he's come.
Yeah. Wow. Didn't we change Shibble's name from Methuselah?
Wow.
Methuselah, dude.
Wow. He does a lot for us.
Oh my goodness.
I love you, Shibbles.
Poor guy. But yeah, that's kind of cool to think. I mean, I hope we make it. That'd be cool. But I would rather Christ return first. But
That would be.
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer Christ's return.
oh man, 50 years in the future. I mean, I could have grandchildren. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I mean, by that point, you either would or you
Would or wouldn't, yeah. Because my child will be 51.
Yeah.
the average lifespan is 75 years,
I thought it was 80.
almost 80. Yeah, depends on which data number you're looking at, but 75 to 80
Depends
years.
on what
So
country
we'll
you
be
live
about to die, and he'll be dead. Woo! That like I was just off mic enough. Woo! All right, sorry. That's it.
Years after the original.
3 levels
but
to get
nobody's tearing down the walls in college because they're reading Caesar. When it comes to Aristotle, the earliest thing we can put our hands on was written 1,400 years after the original. But when it comes to the New Testament, we can put our hands on documents that were written within decades of the originals. So if these overzealous monks wanted to doctor the Bible, what they would have to do is find over 6,000 manuscripts. Change all of them, not show their ink work, get them all back where they stole them from, and never tell anybody what they did. That's just level number 1.
No, pause it. Like, it's simple. They do it 10 years after, like, once those manuscripts are originally written, like, at the time. They just scribble it right at the beginning.
That is the.
There you go.
What?
So he's thinking
You
like
doctor all those 6,000 manuscripts. Like, you don't, like,
No, you go back farther than that. So Paul writes, this is hypothetical, not what actually happened. Paul writes the letters to the Corinthians, and the Corinthians then take it, they read it to someone else, and they take that document. They don't copy it yet. It goes to another church. On the transfer, someone grabs it, writes the whole document, and then changes words. And then that changed document is what gets sent over. And then when they make all the manuscripts, they're already edited. That's the theory that could have happened. But he's talking about monks that happened in the last
He's
20
calling
years.
when he says monks, he's talking about the disciples.
Oh, he is
he is
saying
talking
the
about
disciples?
disciples?
he's
I thought he
referring
was
to them.
referring to.
I thought.
he was referring to.
Oh
like,
no, you're right.
Way later.
I was thinking
like the church.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, what is it called? The church that gets together and actually condenses all who decides what is
the
actually gonna be in the
council.
Council of Nicaea.
Bible. Yeah, Council of Nicaea.
Are we off on that, Shib?
Shibboleth.
Shibboleth?
We're Google searching.
He's crying.
Oh.
You guys really got to him with the Methuselah comment.
I'm sorry.
Long story. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, essentially, I think he's saying, I think when he's quoting monks, he's quoting like what people would say. They'd say like, well, a bunch of monks probably got together and changed it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Monks meaning the people who are devoted
No,
to the
'Cause,
word.
I'm just trying to be like hyperbolic about like it's easy. You just go back before that. There you go.
Yeah.
Boom.
But
no.
Still, we have it back to what did he say? Okay, according to this,
Because then the guys would have
16 or did he say 16 or 60 AD? What was the AD that he used?
It was the latest or the earliest was 120.
120. Okay, so 120 years after the original was written.
No.
Or after,
no,
after,
the original was written.
after sorry.
So
120 years after Christ.
after Christ's birth.
Birth, yeah.
Yep.
Which means,
Around.
we know like some of the New Testament stuff was written in like 50, 60 AD,
Yeah.
70 AD.
So that would be within 50, 60 years of the original being
And
written.
I think he
would
was
be a
saying
copy that we
120
have.
is the latest
Oh,
we
okay.
have copies. But we can go back and watch
bad.
so we make sure. But I don't know. Do you want to go back a little bit so we can see?
A little bit farther.
Yeah, I think it was before he came up with his, like, this is what they'd have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go here.
Try that.
I bet
Yeah,
you
we
it's-
can
I
put
bet you
our
it's
hands on
right here.
documents.
Yep.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Right, yeah, right there.
Yep.
Put our hands on was written 1,400 1,400 years after the original.
That's
but
not
when
the
it
Bible.
comes to the New Testament, we can put our hands on documents that were written within decades of the
Decades, yeah.
originals. So if these overzealous monks wanted to doctor the Bible, what they would have to do is find over 6,000 manuscripts, change all of them, not show their ink work, get them all back where they stole them from, and never tell anybody what they did. That's just level number one.
Yeah, because like the important thing is that like we found.
Go
that
subscribe to Daily Dose of Wisdom.
Here's level number two. Jesus said, go and make disciples of ta ethne, every people group. Funny thing about people groups, they tend to speak different languages. So within the first few centuries, we have the Bible translated into Syriac, Coptic, and Latin. So now these overzealous monks have to find 6,000 Greek manuscripts, change those, doctor them up, don't show your ink work, get them back, go find all the Syriac, Coptic, and Latin translations of those Greek manuscripts, change those to match the lies that you told in another language, and get those back where you stole them from, and that's just level number two. Now you got level number three. The early church fathers had this terrible habit of writing commentary on the New Testament.
Yep.
So much so that Bruce Metzger argues, if all we had
I did
of the
not
New
know
Testament was the quotations and citations by the early church fathers, we could reproduce over 95% of the New Testament just from their writings. So now these overzealous monks have to find 6,000 manuscripts and portions of manuscripts, steal them, change them, don't show your ink work, get it back without anybody finding out. They got to find Syriac, Coptic, and Latin translations, change those to match the lies that they told in the 6,000 manuscripts, get those back where they stole them from, and then find all of the writings of all of the early church fathers, change those to match the lies that they told 2 layers ago, get those put back, never tell anybody what they did, and never ever get caught. Help you if you believe that.
Help you if you believe that.
Oh shoot! I recommend finding this full sermon. It's a good sermon. It really talks about how we as believers don't believe in a fairy tale. We don't believe in something that's made up. We don't believe. I think what Daily Dose of Wisdom is about to say is he says we don't believe in something from a galaxy far, far away. Like it's which is kind of funny because we were talking about cults earlier, these extraterrestrial beings, right? But we don't, right? We don't believe in something that is, first of all, like Mormonism is so easily, you can look into it and be like, well, this is ripe with problems. like this is one guy saying, I was visited by a cosmic being, given this revelation, right? Like, we don't believe in something that puts, like, God has done us a huge service in saying, like, oh, I'm going to make it pretty hard to deny, right?
Yeah.
Like, if God had done it that way, well, it's like, well, that's
kinda-
hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
And no, the Bible is so verifiable and so careful in showing its work, right? And so that the whole sermon is really good. It's like a 25-minute sermon. It's really encouraging, but
That's crazy.
he delivers it well. I mean, like those facts, I went and looked up the one about what he said there about the 95% thing. Like that's a guy's opinion, right? Like he said, he's like, according to this person. Mm-hmm. But that guy did say that, you know. I didn't know that either. And even if that guy's wrong about 95%, it's certainly still then a large amount of it, right? Like if you just had those.
They're probably like taking notes on important things and not like the little things that like
Good point.
would be missing. Like if they're taking notes on it, it's probably like theological and like very like necessary things that they're trying to.
But if he's saying 95%, it's still some of the. Well, it's all inspired by God. So it's all
that's what
important, but-
that's what I'm saying is like
Yeah.
if you're saying
You're getting the gospel.
but they did the other 2 parts. They didn't do that last one. They didn't get to all the commentaries, but all the commentaries were from like it's that 5%, that pesky 5%. That's what we changed, and now everything's changed based on that. But it's more than likely, like I'm not saying this for a fact, that if it was 5% that they couldn't get from all those early church father commentaries, that they would be discussing the important bits and not the like, oh, we didn't know if it was the or like if this was a and or an or.
Essentially what Voddie's saying too is like he's giving a hypothetical. He's like, based on the fact that there are so many early church father commentaries, even if we didn't have the manuscripts, right? He's saying, we had to recreate the Bible.
Yeah.
We could create it to 95% accuracy because of these commentaries. So therefore, if people were trying to do their due diligence in lying about something, they'd have to then go find those as well and change them, not show their ink work. But
yeah. And if you want to get on like that, it was the apostles and the disciples of Jesus that did lie about the entire thing. Then why did they all die for this lie?
Yeah.
So one thing that I found really interesting was a guy was like, yeah, so I didn't believe that I 100% believed that those 12 apostles would all die for that lie. And then when Watergate happened, 12 guys in extreme positions of power couldn't keep a lie together for more than 3 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then he's like, well,
And it's just like,
what a cool way that God used something terrible
yeah.
for his glory. That's pretty cool.
Like, he's just like, if 12 guys, like, in really, like, powerful positions.
Yeah, with
like,
reasons to lie.
With
right?
reasons to lie and have all of this be the way that it is, and then they can't keep it together for a few weeks, then how did these 12 guys that, like, they are dying for what they are lying about?
And it's over something supernatural, right?
Yeah.
Something supernatural. It's not over the things that, frankly, humans are capable of, right? Like that those guys are lying about.
Yeah.
Humans can't even keep the things that are like that we are capable of actually making plausible together.
Yeah.
12 guys can't do that. But these 12 guys, no, they were solid and they were consistent with what they saw of supernatural occurrences. Like that's incredible.
Yeah.
It's super incredible. Be encouraged, right? Like watch that, go check out that whole sermon, right? And for us as well, like those are it's I like that he preached on this whenever he did because it's kind of like when Matt was preaching on Easter Sunday, he's like, Easter Sunday is one of the highest attended church days ever, right? So I'm not going to waste this time. Excuse me. People don't often waste the time on Easter Sunday. They often deliver the gospel, and that's important. But he's like, I'm not going to waste this time also not giving you reasons to believe it. So he's like, here's the gospel, and here's why you can believe it. And he talks about how the resurrection, right? It's so important that the resurrection is undeniable. And it's in that same vein, it's like why communion is so important and reminding ourselves of the truth of the gospel, even after we are saved. It's like, constantly come back to the gospel, constantly preach the gospel to yourself. Like that guy said that talks about, there's that really popular clip of that preacher that is talking about, the thief on the cross. And, when the thief gets up there and the angel's like, well, do you know about, this, and this? And he's like, no, the guy on the middle cross just said I could be here. That guy is famous for saying, preach the gospel to yourself daily. It's like, why would we do that if we already believe it? It's to remind ourselves of the significance of it. And also in part of that, it's like remind yourselves regularly of the fact that you can believe it, that it's verifiable, because slowly over time, it's really easy to question it and be like, is it really? Right? Like, is it really? Like you forget these facts, you forget things like that, like look into it and go do those things and be encouraged by it. And to remember that you don't believe in a fairy tale. So for the believers out there, like, dude, you don't believe in a fairy tale. If you're a believer, and have reasons, right? The Bible says to have an answer for the hope that you have, right? When people will challenge you like this with that question, like we talked to Tim last week, he was talking about like using his faith at one point in his life to kind of fill in the cracks. Like, I don't have answers, so I'll just kind of like blindly follow.
Yeah.
But like, no. Have faith that's based on something first, so that when you don't understand or when you don't have answers, you have something to fall back on, which is the truth of God.
Yeah.
And I just, every time I see a clip of Voddie Baucham, I'm just like, man, this guy's great.
Yeah. He's pretty good, I guess.
Shibbles really wants to have him as a guest on the show for us. That's quite the dream, right?
That will be the day.
I think I'll have to answer for a comment I made about him one time in a previous episode.
Oh.
Where Jude was like, somebody said his name, and then Jude said I said it weird, and then I said it weirder, and I went Voddie Baucham.
Voddie Baucham.
Voddie Baucham?
I don't remember that.
I didn't remember that.
Nope.
It's an old one. It's funny.
Yeah.
but that might be a Patreon clip. I don't know.
We're sorry.
Yeah. Well, do we want to save the last thing for a future episode, or do you want to do it this episode?
We can save it.
Because we don't have to. I don't know how long it'll take.
I mean, it. Sure, let's do it. Why not?
Okay. Because
Well-
it can guarantee that we have some little content for a future one if we're ever unsure, or we can throw it in here. Either way, I'm fine.
Let's just throw it in.
Let's just throw it in. Okay.
Now-
All right.
It's Levi in the news.
In the
Levi
news.
In the
with
news.
Levi. Yeah, the news. Nothing else.
Dazzle us with some old news.
So
Here we go.
I'm sure that you've all heard about the Hindenburg.
No.
What? Tell us about it.
Okay, so Zeppelin blast kills 35. So it's 1937. This headline is from May 7th, 1937. Hindenburg was a great big Zeppelin that flew from Germany, like it was going around the world, and they were showing like the power of it. And it's really unfortunate. Because I think that Zeppelin air travel would be much better than jet planes, just because I think it's cooler. And I'm sure the other way around.
Isn't
I
it
would-
way slower?
Way slow.
Way more
But
dangerous?
there's literally
as proven?
no. This is because they were using hydrogen.
But if they
instead
use
of-
if they use helium,
if
it
you
would
use
work
helium,
better.
there's no risk of this happening.
No risk of it popping or whatever?
There's no risk of a giant explosion.
Yeah, because helium is noble gas.
Yeah. It doesn't react. It can't light on
Still, though, like I feel like
But
a plane.
Also, we're running out of helium. So
No, yeah,
I don't
that
even know
is
if we
another
would have
issue.
enough to fill. Well, that's a whole problem.
But I just
I
think
wonder
the
why they
Zeppelins
don't
are so
use
much
helium.
cooler.
Then.
So yeah, but everybody knows about that. I didn't know that there were people that survived the Hindenburg.
I guess it makes sense, right?
Like, I mean, I guess it makes
Some people
sense.
survived the Titanic. The Titanic.
Yeah,
It's a ten-
yeah. But like, yeah.
But I've
so
never heard-
so
yeah, I didn't
in
know that
this
either.
in this news article, there's a survivor tells the story of their leap to safety.
Their leap to safety.
Their leap to safety. They had to jump out of the Zeppelin.
How high was it when they jumped? Does it say?
Let's have Levi read it.
Yeah, I'll read the eyewitness
it.
testimony. A survivor's account of the crash of the Zeppelin Hindenburg is given here by one of the passengers of the airship who suffered relatively few injuries. May 6th exclusive. I was in my cabin in the forward section of the Hindenburg, packing my belongings in preparation for the landing that seemed only minutes away, when I felt a slight tremor shaking the ship. There was an explosion that rent the hull of the ship, the first of the three that tore the dirigible apart. But its effects, where I stood, was like that of a little air pocket. So it just felt like the ship was just a little bit of turbulence, like nothing major. Hearing people run past my door, I joined them to find the cause of the tremor. As I walked towards the promenade deck, a second tremor occurred. There was very little confusion among the passengers. Nobody knew what had happened, and people were just curious. There's no like screaming,
Yeah.
the humanity, like what they were seeing from the outside. They
Yeah.
were just like, I wonder what that is, running over and like checking things out. Everybody's just curious. Then there's a second, oh, what's happening? I thought we were going to land soon. And people were just curious. When I reached the promenade deck, the nose of the ship was about 20 feet above the... Turn to page 10, column 7.
Are you kidding me? How do we know he survived? Did he jump?
Well, he wrote it.
Well, we got the account from him.
No, I mean like how he survived. Does it say he leapt?
I mean, it says passenger leaps to safety. And
Oh,
this is
my
his,
goodness.
This is
That's
his
all we know.
story.
So
Yeah,
That's
so
exciting.
that like I thought it was so cool. I was sitting there.
Yeah.
We were at the place. I was with my cousin, and I'm like, dude, this is so cool. And I start reading through it, and then it just 20 feet above the.
For those that don't know, these are only front pages.
Yeah, it's
of
only the front
100
page.
years of the Los Angeles Times. So if you didn't see our last episode where Levi read this, it's from 1881 to 1989. They're just front pages. That's why he couldn't go to page 10.
So I can't go to page the page that continues the column.
Yeah.
But I thought it was crazy. I didn't know anyone survived the Hindenburg.
That is
And
crazy.
that he leapt to safety. I was so intrigued. And then you have to Yeah.
We have to get a
But
copy on
the
that.
crazy thing is, like, it's the explosions. That's where we get the line, "Oh, the humanity," is because a reporter was looking at it and was like, "Oh, the humanity," and that was like one of the like front page lines.
If anyone finds the full article,
Yeah, please link it in the comments so
Yeah.
that we can actually like get some like resolution.
yeah,
to
we
this.
need some closure.
But yeah, I just thought.
Do we even know the guy's name? Was it listed there?
Yeah, it was listed there somewhere.
Oh.
But
That I did not realize there was 3 blasts.
Yeah,
Three
I didn't.
explosions. Because it said 3 explosions.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I'm like, huh.
I guess it makes sense.
It's interesting.
Sometimes
And then-
explosions happen that way.
And then also, it would be weird to say, like, there's a giant explosion and everyone's freaking out on the outside.
Yeah.
But on the inside, they're like, huh.
it just feels like turbulence, and they're like, "Huh, I was just getting ready to we're about to land soon. That's weird." And then you're like running around and like, "Hey, what was that? I don't know. We're about to land." So they go out to the promenade, and then
That's crazy.
That's all we know.
and that's all we know.
Well, that's the
it.
news from
That's the
1930,
news.
whatever.
1937.
Yeah, that's the news. If you didn't hear, the Hindenburg blew. Oh, the humanity.
the humanity.
Oh, the humanity.
Oh, humanity.
Yeah, our thoughts and prayers.
Our thoughts and prayers.
I mean, no, there's probably still
yeah.
people
There's still
alive
people.
today who are related, or like have close family that impacted, but
No, yeah, like
Absolutely.
Shibble's son was on it, right?
it's like you can't make the same joke so many times and it'd be funny. It's like funny barely once.
I still find it funny. I think it's hilarious. Let
But-
us know if you find me funny at all, or if I'm not. Then you can.
No,
read
you're
it
funny.
right
I
in
just
the
mean
comments.
like
No, yeah, Jerry doesn't think so.
I
You
think
tell me.
constantly calling Shibbles old. The Methuselah was pretty clever. That was pretty good. But then being
That was
like,
pretty clever.
yeah, wasn't your son on the Hindenburg? Somehow that's like less funny than saying, be like, dude, you were a survivor too, right? Wait, did he write the article?
Did you do the leap to safety? Can you finish the article for us?
But it would be interesting to get that guy on the podcast someday.
no, yeah, we should totally. Yeah.
He's only almost,
Shibble starts walking over. He's on his way.
that guy is only, who knows how old he was then, but if he was 30 then he's only 140 years old now.
Yeah.
That's
No, he's only 120 years old now. Sorry.
he might. The Bible says 120.
Something about it, yeah.
Anyway,
Well, we're glad you were here. We hope you enjoyed the
Yes.
show. I enjoyed this one. This is a fun episode.
Yeah.
I liked it. If you enjoyed the episode and you think you know some people that might enjoy it, share it with people. Please leave us a comment what you thought about it. There were a couple points in there where you could certainly be involved. So get involved. Let us. I hope you let us know if you thought it was a cult or a hypothetical. Let me know what you thought of my made up cult. And if you have any interesting cults that you've heard of online, shoot me a message on Discord, and maybe I can use them in a game of cult.
And if
or
you're listening to the
hypothetical.
audio only, then we do have the video so you can see how young Voddie Baucham really looked.
Yeah, Voddie Baucham.
Yeah.
He
Voddie Baucham.
had no beard.
Yeah, he had
and
no
he was
beard.
wiping
And it was-
sweat from
and
his
it was
brow
crazy.
constantly.
But
doesn't he always do that though?
Probably.
yeah,
Anyhow,
but not the no beard part.
Thank you for being here. We had a lot of fun with this one. Go check it out. Go to discord.gg/Christian Influence. You can always find like an updated schedule on our events, for when these episodes are coming out, if it's ever different or anything like that. And you can get involved in the discussion there and message us. We hope you enjoyed it. We love you very much.
Roll the outro.
That's a good one.